You're right there, ladies and gents, how is it going? I'm down at Finn's Motorcycles in Redhill. Grant, the owner, very kindly gave me a call last night to tell me about this. They've got in as a demonstrator the new Suzuki DR-Z400 SM, or if you're an American, DR-Z400 SM. They've also got in stock the DR-Z DR-Z400 S as well, if you're more of a dual sport enduro rider. And yes, I'm really excited for this. I actually said to Grant when it was first announced, if they get in a yellow DR-Z400 S to sell, then put my name down for it. But Suzuki were a little bit slow in getting the bikes out to everyone, and unfortunately that meant that I found myself something else to ride. But it's not to say in the future I wouldn't change my mind, chop in my KTM and get myself, oh god, rain, and get myself one of these or the enduro version of it, if that proved more appropriate for what it is that I want to be doing with my motorcycling. Now this is a open shop, it's very busy, there's people coming and going, and lots. So what I'm going to do is take the bike out, we'll park it up somewhere, have a little spin of it, I'll show you around it, and then we'll talk about it as we go. But like I say, it's a busy old shop, so I don't want to get in their way. They're very kindly letting me take this out. It's only got 10 miles on the clock, it's still even got its full wrapper on the screen. It's a brand new motorcycle, so I feel very honoured and privileged that Finns have entrusted me with this bike to take it out for a little spin. But if you are interested in getting a demo on one of these, they have got this in stock for you to go and do that with, so do reach out to them if you are interested in the bike. But anyway, we're going to crack on with this. If you haven't done so already, please do click that subscribe button and give the video a big old thumbs up if you're interested in this sort of content, and let Grant and the guys at Finns know that you're enjoying this sort of content. But anyway, right, let's get on with it, shall we? Let's get out on this motorcycle, and my, what a lovely motorcycle it is.
Keep that bar rubber side down.
Right then, so let's get ourselves on this motorcycle, find out what it's like. It's a good looking bike. I know not everyone likes the Suzuki headlights currently, but I like them. I think they look kind of cool. But we'll do a proper walk around this in a bit once I've thrown my leg over it and got a little bit more used to it. They've put some petrol in it, but that's about all really. It's pretty much a brand new motorcycle, so I might have to spend a few minutes getting acquainted with the controls and stuff, but it's general Suzuki affair. The mode on this thing I'll talk through in a little bit, because that is really user intuitive, and it's very easy to use, and I really like it on my Suzuki V-Strom and the GSX-8S, which I had prior. So yes, I like the Suzuki switchgear. It works really well. I think this has also got the one-touch start, we'll find out in a second. So key on. So that's done its little flash up. You're not going to be able to see the dash very well because it's got that cover on it. I'm not going to take it off, it's their bike. But yeah, I think if you just do that, it starts the bike. And I know that sounds silly, pressing the start button makes the bike start, but I really like it. I really like that Suzuki have that one touch start where you don't have to hold the button, you just tap it and that's you done. Now this motorcycle is apparently about 154 kilograms wet. The enduro version, or the dual sport version, is 151 kilograms wet, I think. I'm not sure on that. I'll put all the specs up in the description below. Now I am kind of used to the taller motorcycles. I've got a KTM 690 enduro which I've had lowered, and that feels a little bit lower than this, and that's an enduro. I am kind of tiptoes with both feet on this, like proper tiptoes. It's a shame I've put the camera away to show you, but I am literally, with the bike upright, it's literally the tips of my toes. And this is an 890mm seat height on this bike, and I am 5'6" with a 29-inch-ish inseam. Some people might think I have a longer inseam than that, but I buy a 29-inch trouser if I can. So yes, that's where we're coming from here. Right, the clutch is really light. Front brake feels like it's got a bit of pressure on it. Might have to move the mirrors and stuff once we get going, but we will crack on. Oh, I noticed that this has got like Honda do, where the indicators are switched on all the time, as sort of like daylight running lights, which is fine. It's fine, but it does mean that you've always got this orange glow coming from them. So yes, hopefully I'll remember to turn my indicators off. Right, let's crack on. Pulling away, really light off the clutch. It's not the most powerful of motorcycles, and that's exactly what you want from a dual sport. Oh, and he stalled it. He stalled it! Right, it is a really grotty day. We are midwinter. It is very cold out. They have put some fuel in here for me, and that's saying traction control. Does that mean we haven't got traction control turned on? Let's just park up and put this in a sensible mode for while I get used to it. Right then, we are off. And this is an A2 category motorcycle, so it's never going to set the world on fire for performance on the road. But I actually really like A2 bikes. I think they've got a humongous place in this world, as do green traffic lights, please. Oh my word. The Suzuki Gearbox, is, as usual, is lovely, into and out of gear, no problem at all, but a nice sort of, you really know that you've changed gear or put it into neutral. It just feels nice. Suzuki do gearboxes well, I think. Sitting here at these traffic lights, I've got 1 foot on the peg, 1 foot down, and I've got the balls of my feet very comfortably on the ground. I feel very safe here, very stable, and I don't feel like I'm likely to topple over anytime soon while I'm standing there in that position. I could have slid my butt cheek off the bike just a little bit, and then I would have quite easily have flat-footed, I think. The seat on this is not feeling very plush, not feeling very soft. I know seats do tend to take a little bit of while to bed in, which is probably the case with this too, but it is a dual sport enduro style motorcycle, or Supermoto in this instance, so they never ever have very friendly seats on these sorts of motorcycles. I'm already missing the heated grips of my Suzuki, so if I was to buy one of these, I would probably spec in heated grips, either the Suzuki ones or just get some aftermarket ones, I don't know. I have the Suzuki ones on my V-Strom, and although they are very hot, I can't work out how to adjust them. Can't work out how to adjust the heat on them at all. I am a bit of a technophobe. So we've got a little bit of town work at the moment. I did avoid the worst of it back there by doing a little cut through, so hopefully we'll get into some traffic just so we can see how this filters or sort of handles the slow speed stuff. But the engine is very torquey. I did just pull away in third gear, and it didn't really struggle, it didn't really argue with me too much. I'm not saying it's ideal, but it will do it. So in second gear here, the throttle is a little bit choppy just at these low revs. It's the ride by wire that's doing that. We are actually in B mode, which is the softer power mode, or softer throttle response mode. It does have mode C as well. Let's see what that one's like. Yeah, the same speed again. It just seems just a little bit choppy, and I think that's a ride-by-wire symptom there. This bike doesn't have a quickshifter spec'd into it. I don't know whether there's an option for one as an aftermarket. It would be quite nice having one. My KTM 690 has a quick shifter, and it's a blessing when it's working right. KTM though, hey. I would definitely need to spend some time adjusting everything if I was to buy one of these bikes, as you would with any motorcycle, like the mirrors, the bar, lever positions and stuff like that. I'd all want to tailor to suit how I sit, how I ride these motorcycles and stuff like that, and I do recommend that everyone does that when they get a motorcycle. Don't just expect it to come how it will work best for you. I think people are often scared to get the spanners out on motorcycles, but things like adjusting the lever height and where the mirrors sit can often transform how a motorcycle feels, and it can allow you to really feel at home on the motorcycle. So yeah, I do recommend that. It's normally only an 8mm bolt to adjust the mirror and perch for the levers, and you can just tilt them back and forth a little bit. I would tilt them all down. Suzuki do seem to like their levers being quite high up. Riding along in mode C at the moment, mainly because I wanted to see if it was as choppy in mode C as it was in mode B. You definitely feel like it's subdued. and it definitely feels like it's in a lower power mode. Now I'm not sure whether that's just because it spaces out the throttle action, or whether it actually does reduce the power or not, don't know, but it definitely feels a bit muted. I will probably put it back into mode B in a second. Let's just do that now and see how we get on. Okay, so now we're in mode B, and it instantly feels a little bit more perky just off the throttle. Yeah, I can't tell if it's more than that or not, but it's definitely a better mode to be in. Excuse the pun there. It just feels like everything works better. What are you doing, car? Left or right, mate? Alright, let's see what we get through these few cars here to the front. The cars were not exactly close together, but it does cut through them no problem at all. Absolute doddles, absolute doddles. Yeah, pulling away, it instantly feels better in this mode than it did in mode C. I am feeling very at home on the bike. It's just got a little familiarity to it. I don't know whether that's because the Ergos are similar to the KTM that I've got, or whether they're similar to the V-Strom that I've got. I don't know. The bars on here are certainly different from what I've got on the V-Strom, but that's only because I've changed the bars on the V-Strom to ones from the GSX-8S, just because I wanted something skinnier. But yeah, it's around town. This seems okay, I know we haven't done an awful lot. I don't want to spend the whole of my time on the bike just scooting through town. I do get that an awful lot of people who buy a bike like this, like the Supermoto version, will be primarily doing so to town ride and stuff like that, with a little adventuring as well. But primarily I would have thought that most would be around town on a bike like this. It's got no wind protection, so you're not going to be wanting to do much in the way of highway, motorway stuff. Not saying it can't, I'm just saying that you'd buy something different if you were going to be spending your life on a motorway, wouldn't you? And I think the majority of owners of this would be sort of spending most of their time in towns, and with how light and playful this bike feels, I don't think they'd be going wrong particularly in making that assumption that this would be a good one for that job. I'm kind of following my nose at the moment without actually getting any direction in my brain, so yes, we might end up getting a little bit lost. Oh, we might survive, and it might be the best day ever. I didn't show a huge amount of my first few minutes on the motorcycle. I wanted to just acclimatise with it and feel more at home on an alien motorcycle before giving you any words or stuff like that, and I'm quite glad that I did. It's not that the bike took any time to get used to, it's just you can't say anything about a motorcycle in the first 5 minutes of sitting on it. I mean, like, even these first look review type things, they don't tell you what a bike's like to live with. It just explains what it feels like to someone who's sitting on it and riding around. Out on the open country roads, which is what this bike is designed for. It's what it's designed for. Now, I know I was saying a second ago that the majority of people who buy these bikes will probably spend most of their time in towns and cities. It's not to say that they're not going to come out here. They're not going to come out into the countryside, and when they do, I think this bike will come into its own. The wider bars, the good upright visibility will just allow any rider to feel safe and secure in what they're doing around the British country lanes with high hedgerows and stuff, to be able to see over the traffic, see round the hedgerows and stuff like that without putting themselves in danger. And the light weight of this bike is only 155 kilograms wet. That's with a full tank of fuel, I think. So I mean, like, that's not heavy. It's not heavy in a world where A2 category bikes are up to 175 or so, or even 180 kilograms. 150 is a big old sack of potatoes lighter than that. And I recently owned an Aprilia Touareg 660, and due to some health issues I wanted to downsize, and I downsized to my KTM 690 Enduro R. which is similar weight to this, about 155 kilograms thereabouts. The Aprilia Touareg was 204 kilograms wet, and it's a humongous weight difference. It's like a totally different motorcycle when you get on something that's considerably lighter, and 30 kilograms is considerably lighter. So this versus a 180 kilogram A2 bike, you're really gonna feel like you're on the most nimble thing in the world. It's just a lovely little motorcycle, and I'd left my indicator on, sorry. These indicators as daylight running lights, I'm not a fan. I'd probably find a way to turn that off if I could, because yeah, all I see is an orange glow, and it means that I don't notice that my indicators are on because they're already on. So the bike doesn't have a rev counter, so when you are motoring along, you have to kind of go by feel for what the engine's doing. I don't have a problem with that. It does actually stop you sitting there and gauge watching, but it would be nice to have one. Yeah, country roads like this are really what this motorcycle's for. It's what it's all about. And I think if you have got some countryside like this all around you, you'll be treated. It'd be an absolute delight to have a motorcycle like this in your stable. I am currently feeling a little bit cheated on all the twilly roads I find. There just seems to be an awful lot of traffic today. I've held back for a little bit, so hopefully I can just scoot along this road here and be uninterrupted by cars ahead of me. I am noticing quite quickly the 5 gears on this bike. Now, it is grotty weather, so I'm not revving the bike out. I'm not trying to go hoony tunes, but I very much think that I would like that 6th gear. So although I said a lot of people will spend their time in towns on a motorcycle like this, it'll be a cracking bike for it, but this is where it's designed for. Roads like this, maybe not in these conditions, but in the middle of summer with dry tarmac, and once you've got some heat in them tyres, this would be amazing fun. Admittedly, you'd have to mind your P's and Q's on this particular one because it's quite towny. There's an awful lot of houses here and stuff. We've got so many country roads very similar to this that would just make this bike come alive. It would make the bike come alive, and I don't think many people would find the 37.5 brake horsepower, 38 brake horsepower that this bike has to be not enough. Obviously on faster roads then you would start thinking, oh, I wish I had a little bit more power, but on stuff like this you don't need it. And in weather like this, blimey, I'm not even using half of the horsepower this bike's got. Just to get all political and stuff like that, I really hate all these arbitrary speed cameras that we've got at the moment. And you know what's happening next is the speed limits are getting reduced further and further out. Back in the day this used to be a 60, now it's a 40 with average speed cameras. The whole of Dorking and the area around it is just becoming anti-motorcyclists. Now when I say that, they're anti-social behaviourist, and there's nothing wrong with being anti-social behaviourist, but what they're doing is they're just making the place so miserable that people won't want to come here. I'd like to say to you, Dorking, the reason I left Dorking when I was 15 was because it was already bloody miserable, mate. I hated it back then. I don't really like it now, but as a motorcyclist you're getting less and less to offer for us, aren't you? You get less and less to offer for us. But maybe that's your plan. That's your plan, isn't it? But that's enough of that. So you didn't come here for my political ramblings about arbitrary speed limits and stuff like that. But if you do have thoughts on them, drop them down below. I'm not sure what tyres this bike comes with, but I've had no problems with them so far, even though the road is very cold and very wet. A lot of standing water and the rain is falling out the sky quite hard. Yeah, give it a wipe. Yeah, like I say, I'm not sure what they are, but they do seem to be coping very well with real world UK weather. So this is one of the steepest main roads, I guess, in the area. Pebble Hill, I think it's called, something like that. Surface here is horrible, but yeah, 4th gear. The bike seems to be having no issues getting up here. I've seen some cars struggle to get up here, but yeah, they were probably not in the right gear for it. Alrighty, so we're now in a 50 zone. So we've got a little bit more playtime with the speedo. I'm just going to switch it into mode A. See what that feels like. 50 mile an hour, absolutely fine, no problem at all. No problem at all. This bike is never going to struggle at 50. 400cc, thereabouts. And nice punchy thumper engine. It's always going to be able to be fine at 50 mile an hour. It's once you stretch its legs beyond there that counts, isn't it? So we're going to go down onto an unrestricted road and see what it's like going a little bit faster. Right then, while we head towards some national speed limits, let's just talk about the ergos of this motorcycle. Since we're on a nice easy road to ride with this below average speed limit than it should be. We are very comfortable but very much in the wind. The reach for me, I mentioned earlier on, I'm 5'6" with a 29-inch inseam. Not that my inseam has a huge amount to do with where the handlebars fit, but yes, you kind of get a gist of where I am. The bar reach is absolutely fine for me. They are a wider bar, but they're not obscenely wide, and they are close to me but not too close, so I feel like I've got a good stance on the bike should I want to get aggressive on the old handling. And I think that's good because it instills a little bit of confidence that you can put your weight where you want it to be, and that you can get the front end loaded up when you want to have that extra grip from the front. So we covered the bars and how that feels to my arms, shoulders and all that sort of thing. Now what are the foot pegs like? The foot pegs don't feel like they've got much in the way of vibrations coming through them, which is nice. They are rubber mounted. I think you can take those rubber inserts out if you want to go off on some trails on the Enduro version, Dual Sport version, and that'll give you a bit more grip. Sorry, it's very, very windy today and I am getting blown around a little bit, which I guess is something else that you might notice on this bike. Because you're upright, there's no wind resistance or whatever, no fairing, that you are going to be exposed to whatever weather is happening, and that includes sort of side winds as well. It does feel like it is affected a little bit by them. It's a bit unfair for me to say that though, because I can't tell you what I'd be like on another bike at the moment, because today's wind is today's wind. But on a lighter motorcycle you do get blown around a bit more than you do on a heavier one, and that's just facts. That's just whatever the lightweight motorcycle you're on, it hasn't got the mass, the density or whatever to resist the wind like a heavier bike does. Right, so we are now on a national speed limit road. Let's see what we can do. Fourth gear seems happy enough. Fifth gear, top gear now, and we are doing 70 mile an hour with no issues whatsoever. Not sure quite what happened to the camera there, but apparently according to the internet this bike will do about 87 miles an hour, and then it seems to not really go much faster. I am possibly heading into the wind at the moment a little bit, which is slowing me down, or the alleged person in Mexico. But yes, it's not a fast bike, but it does seem like it will sit at 75 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour all day long without feeling like you're buzzing the hell out of the engine. I mean, you are revving it, don't get me wrong, but it's such an unstressed engine. I think it will just do that all day. It will do that all day long without a complaint. I've given the cars up ahead a little bit of a chance to get away from us, so we can just enjoy this bike for what it is along the roads that it's really designed to be used in. B roads, back roads, natural country lanes, covered in leaves, wet, miserable, but actually a bike like this is just almost in its element. Now I'm not pushing this bike particularly at all, I'm pootling almost, and it's not my motorcycle, so I kind of feel like I have to do so. People tend not to let you borrow their bikes if you crash them, right? So I am riding with a lot more respect than I would do if it were my own motorcycle, but I'm not finding this bike is a slouch at all on these sorts of roads here. I would not be riding particularly faster on my 690 Duke, which I guess is my equivalent bike to this, not quite the same, but my equivalent bike to this, because the conditions just don't allow you to. And that means that you don't need 70 plus horsepower. 40 horsepower or thereabouts is absolutely perfect. I mean, I'm not even using that, I'm probably using half of that horsepower here. So yes, if I was living out in the sticks like this, something like this would be lovely. It would be absolutely cracking, it really would. I do think with my use I would probably want an extra gear, but then I'd probably also want a little bit more performance too from a road bike. But then I have a full power license, so I can ride whatever motorcycles I want, and that does mean that target audience wise, am I really who this bike is aimed at? I am partly who this bike is aimed at. I think obviously more the S version rather than the SM version, because I trail ride, and if I was going that route, the dual sport route, then yes, I would love one of these, and I think it would be aimed perfectly at me. As far as the SM route goes, for a full license holder, it's not necessarily what you're going to be wanting. It's not saying it's wrong, it's not saying it's bad, but you might want a little bit more horsepower. All depends on how you ride, really. So you've got to weigh up those things when you're looking at what motorcycle to get. If you are someone that pootles along at the speed limits, then this bike will do it. This bike will do it, and you'll have a grin on your chops. But if you want to do track days, it will do them. But I think there are better bikes for that. I don't think Suzuki were even kidding themselves though. This was never designed as that. It was never designed as that in the first place. It's a very fun A2 category motorcycle, and that means it's A2 performance. And I think compared to some other A2 bikes I've ridden, it's on par. It's very much on par as a road bike. It just it runs out of steam a little bit sooner than some, but then they might have slightly taller gearing. But then if you have a 6 gear, you can kind of do that. You can have that taller gear. My 390 Duke, 2017 390 Duke I used to own, that would do over 100 mile an hour just about. It is a cracking motorcycle. It definitely feels like it's got enough pep for country lanes like this and tighter ones. It will do 75 mile an hour all day long, no problem at all, and I don't think you'll feel like the engine is buzzing its tits off, but I think if you want to go faster than that, you probably want a bigger motorcycle, and an A2 bike isn't really the category for you then. If you are happy at 75 miles an hour on those wider, faster roads, then this is absolutely glorious for it. And then you'll get to these back roads here and just be in heaven, because the lightweight, the nimble handling, and just enjoyment you can have from a lightweight motorcycle really comes into its own on these back roads. You can't go wrong with it, really. You just can't go wrong. The elephant in the room is that 6th gear. A lot of people really wanted it, and I have to say on these roads I'm not really missing it. I'm not saying it couldn't do with it, but I'm not missing it. In the summer I probably would be. In the summer I would be massively, because then you'd be going another 20 mile an hour faster or wanting to, and then you are starting to push the limits of this bike's speed, even if not its handling. And that's A2 for you, baby. That's A2 for you. For people looking at getting themselves a Supermoto, would I recommend this bike to them? It all depends on your situation, really. Budget obviously comes into it, as does your license. If you are on an A2 license, then you are very limited in your choice. So then I would absolutely say this 100%. If you've got a full license so you can ride anything you want, then it all really comes down to how you ride as to what bike would be the best for you. You might want a Supermoto, but you might not actually want to be hooning all the time. So in that instance, this would be absolutely fine. If you lived out here where the speed limits are sort of 30s and 40s and thereabouts most of the time, except for the odd national, you don't need any more than this, especially if you ride all year round. It's only in the summer months where you would miss having a bit more power, but again, if you are not the rider that rides faster and harder, you don't really need it. You don't really need it. For my subscribers, my regular subscribers who know me, know my motorcycles and stuff like that, would I buy this bike for me? I probably wouldn't buy this bike. I wouldn't buy this bike because I don't need an A2 category Supermoto. I've very much enjoyed my time on this today, absolutely, even with the grotty weather. But I wouldn't buy an A2 Supermoto. I would buy an A2 Dual Sport, so the S version of this. It would be lovely to have ridden that, to have found out what that is actually like, to know what that would be like on the trails. But I think with the majority of the trail riding I do, I think that bike would be absolutely spot on. It would be like my Beta Out was, just like this Goldilocks of motorcycles for green laning locally. It would just be perfect for it. And its top speed, it's going to be enough to be able to sit at 70-75 mile an hour all day long, for me to be able to get a little bit further afield, to do the other lanes. So I'd be able to go down to Salisbury on it and stuff. It's strong enough to be able to, because it can take a passenger, it's strong enough to be able to load up with camping gear and all that sort of stuff. So I would probably, without even a second thought, get the S version of this, because I think it would do what I want from a motorcycle incredibly well. So yes, I would buy the S version of this bike in a heartbeat if I was after a dual sport. I have just bought myself a dual sport though, as those of you that follow the channel know. I've got a 690 Enduro R, and that is an all-round a better motorcycle, but out of the box that's 10.5 grand. This is £8,000 I think, which when you put it into that context, this is cheap. People will compare it to the A2 CRF. If you want a CRF, buy a CRF, but I think there's enough going on with the 400, the Suzuki DR-Z400, to make the extra cost worth it versus the CRF 300, personally. And versus my KTM Enduro R, well, the bike's 10.5 grand new, this is 8, and I've spent I'm not telling you how much I've spent on that bike to make it what it is, but it's a lot. I've spent a lot on that bike, and it was already a very competent bike to start with. I would have to spend some money on the S to make it work for me. I'd need to get it lowered, so I'd end up getting like a seat concept seat for it, which would be more comfortable overall and a bit lower, and then I'd also probably get the suspension lowered as well, so another sort of 500 quid there, maybe a bit more, I don't know, but yes, so that's sort of what would have to happen for me to make the S work for me. But I'd do it if I was after a dual sport. Suzuki are currently doing a fantastic deal, really. It's a 10-year warranty on their motorcycles. Now that is service based, so you have to then get your bike serviced at a official Suzuki dealership for that warranty to keep being extended. I'm not sure what it is as a base, but I think it's maybe a 2-year, might be a 3-year, not sure. Don't stand by what I say here, do check their website as standard, but yeah, if you're happy to get Suzuki to dealer service your bike for you, and I recommend Fins, they service my V-Strom for me. They're good guys there, good guys and girls, and yeah, they've looked after me, as well as Moto have another dealership I recommend, but they're not a Suzuki dealership. Fins are. But yeah, you can get a 10-year warranty on your motorcycle. How good's that? Can't really knock that one, can you? It wasn't that long ago when the long warranties, even on cars, were just not offered. I think it was Kia, was it, that first offered the longer warranties? And yeah, I mean, if a manufacturer can stand by their bike and go, yeah, this bike's going to be absolutely fine for 10 years, yeah, that's cool. I'd support that. I'd throw my money at them quite happily. I am a little bit lost, but not a lot bit lost. I think I have to go right here. Yes, I sort of know where we are. With the engine being a bit warmer now, after some miles on it, it's loosened up a little bit more. It's definitely feeling a little bit more playful. And I think when it was fully run in and had its first service and all these updates and all that sort of stuff, I think this would be a lot of fun being able to give it some full throttle action without worrying about upsetting it and stuff like that. Cool, it is chilly today. Definitely missing the heated grips off my V-Strom, and definitely wishing I had thicker socks on. Cold feet, cold fingers. Yeah, this is feeling a lot looser now, and I think a fully run-in bike would be fantastic fun. Although I know where I'm going, I don't know where I am. Does that make sense? I don't even know where I'm going. This is Reigate Hill, I believe. Where it goes though, other than Reigate, I have no idea. But it's good exploring. Yes, so fun times. Thank you very much to Finns for letting me borrow this motorcycle today. I am not affiliated with them. They've not paid me. They don't give me a discount to say nice things on videos. I just appreciate good customer service, as I showed, I think, in the past with Brighton Moto. I like local businesses to stay open. I think we have a duty to recommend businesses that do things nicely and that support their customers and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I do big words and say high praise of these places. If I wouldn't go there with my own money, I wouldn't shout them out. So yes, with that said, do check out Finn's Motorcycles. Put links down below to their Facebook page and stuff like that, so you can sort of see what they're all about, see where they are. And if you are thinking about either the 400S or 400 SM, please do check out their showroom. They've got one of each, I think, in stock that you can go and probe and poke and buy. So I think you've kind of got the gist from me that if it was my money, I would very much buy the A2 SM if I was on an A2 license, and I very much also would be very tempted, if I didn't have the 690, to get the S version for myself, and like proper serious would part with my cash for that, because I think if it's anything like this, then it will be an amazing bike. A lot of people will go, oh, it hasn't got enough power, or it's too heavy, or stuff like that, but you're comparing it to an enduro bike, a race bike, which you service by the amount of hours you've ridden the engine for. They're different motorcycles. So as a trail rider, 150 kilograms, bang on the money. 155 kilograms, whatever, it's bang on the money. The price of the bike is good value, I think, considering how much the 690 costs. And yeah, I think it's a great motorcycle. So if I was spending my own money, I would most 100% be looking at the DR-Z400 S, because I think if it's anything like this, it will be an amazing trail bike. Really do. I'm quite smitten by this. I'm not regretting my life choices in getting a KTM 690 Enduro R. I'm not, honest. But I might be thinking I could have saved an awful lot of money. Yeah, I could have saved an awful lot of money had I done so, because it's £2 cheaper, or £2.5 cheaper. So yes, and a 10-year warranty and Japanese reliability. It's really user friendly. Yeah, Yeah, no, I'm not regretting my choices. I'm not regretting my choices. I do know that if I was to buy one of these, I would more than happily spend my money over at Finn's Motorcycles. There are a great bunch of guys and girls down there, so yes. And don't just take my word for that. Go and have a look at them. Go speak to them and stuff. You'll see that they're not like usual salespeople. I think one of the reasons I like them is also that one of the same reasons I like Brighton Moto. They're a small motorcycle shop that happens to be a dealer. They're not a dealer that happens to be a motorcycle shop, if you know what I mean. It's not corporate. It's your mate down the pub selling motorcycles, but legit. Yes, yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for that, and there's a lot to be said for grand customer service, which is something I've always had from Finn's over the many years that I've been using them, and I have been using them for many years. They didn't always used to be over at this particular location. Yeah, I've been a customer of theirs for a very long time. They might not know I have, because back then I hadn't even spoken to them. I just brought my bikes in, got things done, and then buggered off. But now in a world of internet, they call me. What a great place to be, having dealerships throw you up, asking if you want to test ride one of their motorcycles. Now I just need to get the manufacturers to do the same. But we are now back at Finn's Motorcycles. So let's just say a few words of thanks to them, and have another little look at this wonderful motorcycle once again. Got to say, that side stand is a delight to use, an absolute delight. This motorcycle is a delight to ride, and yeah, Finn's Motorcycles are a great place to come and get your Suzuki serviced or bought. You could buy your motorcycle from them. They've got some very lovely bikes. We'll take a little wander through their shop. Yes, but this is a cracking little bike, and it fits a short person, even though it's tall. It's not that tall. It's perfectly manageable for the weight. So yes, short people, this one could be for you, even if you didn't think it was. Okay, right, I'm going to close out, but we are going to take a little wander through, and I'll just quickly show you the DR-Z400 S as well as we go through. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Finn's. Please do check them out. Check out their website, links down below. And if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button. It would be fantastic to have you come back for some more. If you like the video, give it a big old thumbs up. If you're thinking about getting one of these, drop down a comment, let me know why. And if you're getting one, yes, is it the SM you're going for, or is it the S? It would be awesome to know your thoughts and why you are doing what you're doing. If you aren't going to get one but you're just interested in bike reviews, do stay tuned to the channel. I do hope to do the odd review throughout time as I get the opportunity, and there's lots and lots of other motorcycle content on my channel. Anyway, you ride safe, take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye for now. Well, sort of. Let's go have a look at the S, shall we? Let's go and have a look at the S. So this is the S. Obviously this is their one that's for sale, so I'm not going to poke and prod it, but dual sport tyres, 21-inch front, and knobbly on the back as well. Other than that, it's kind of pretty much the same motorcycle, slightly different suspension, but that's about it really. This is quite a tall bike. It's 930mm seat height. I can just about get on a 930, but I don't feel confident on it. And that's a big thing when it comes to trail riding. So I personally would need to lower one of these if I got one. So on top of the £8 for the bike, I'd need to factor that in. So probably be about 500 quid to get one lowered, maybe a little bit more. I mean, you can do it yourself for 40 quid and just drop the forks through the yokes and stick a linkage adjuster on the rear, but it's not the ideal way to do it. It's probably better to do it properly and get a suspension specialist on the case. But yeah, I would get the yellow. I definitely like the yellow, and this is actually the bike I would buy if I was getting any of them. As you can see, they've got an awful lot of motorcycles here. They've got lots of new bikes, but they've also got an awful lot of second-hand ones. Really good guys, and yes, crackers, absolutely crackers. So yeah, come and check them out if you've got a Suzuki, or just want servicing done, or just want to have a look at what they've got. They've got some Exotica here too. as well as some other bikes, a little less exotic, but a great little dealership. So thank you, Finns, for your support, and let me borrow your bike. Right, I'm going to go and give them the keys back to that now, and then take out my actual Suzuki, the V-Strom, and go for a spin on that. So anyway, yes, we've done the you ride safe, take care, and all that rubbish. So anyway, bye.